Trading Tomorrows, a short story. I wake up and feel rough sheets against my skin. This is not my bed. I sit up and bump my head on the ceiling. On the dressing table is a photo of two middle-aged parents, smiling and happy to see me. I have seen these two at birthday parties and school plays, but I don't really know them. My phone buzzes. It is Max. "Yo," the text reads. "Your housekeeper brought me breakfast and bed." He attaches a photo of his eggs Benedict. The swap had been Max's idea. When he showed me the ad on TikTok, I was certain it was a scam. Two teenagers needed for clinical trial, it read. $10,000 compensation. When we arrived at the clinic, a man in a lab coat led us to a windowless room. "How would you like to swap lives for a month?" he asked, pulling 2 stacks of cash from his big white pockets. When I turned to Max, he was already thumbing through the paper bills. "Hell yeah," he said. 30 minutes later, I became Max, and Max became me. I watched myself in the mirror. My hair, well, Max's hair, is thick and curly, my features chiseled and sharp. I smile and run my tongue over 2 rows of symmetrical white teeth. When I go downstairs, my new parents are busy preparing breakfast. "You're up early," Max's mum says, planting a kiss on my cheek. I recoil slightly, but she doesn't seem to notice. "I put your football stuff by the door," Max's dad says. He's packing up his toolbox for work. I think he works as a plumber or mechanic or something. Max never really talks about his parents. "They're lame," is all he ever says. When I step outside, the sun makes me dizzy. The operation hadn't hurt that much, but it had left me with a sharp headache. At the bus stop, I do a double take when I see myself staring back at me. "Yo, Rupert," my old body says to me. "Your sister is hot." I grimace. "What the hell, Max? She's basically your sister now." A kid with glasses pokes Max in the arm. It's my friend, Kenny. "Hey man, you played the new Battlebounce game yet?" he asks. Max sniffs at Kenny as if his entire presence irritates his nostrils. He leans forwards and whispers in my ear. "Remember the deal," he says. "While you're me, you've got to protect my reputation. No hanging out with nerds." I nod. Being cool for a month was part of the reason I agreed to the swap. It would be nice not to be bullied for a change. The bus pulls up and I make my way to the back where my new friends are sitting. They hunch over their phones, scrolling through photos and videos of people they've never met. The girl next to me is drinking a can of Coke. When she finishes it, she throws it towards the front of the bus and it hits Kenny on the head. He squeals, which shakes my friends out of their stupor. They start hurling pens, books, and bottles towards Kenny. I tell them to stop, but they ignore me, entranced by their cycle of aggression. "Stop!" I yell. "What's your problem, bro?" one of them saves back. "Yeah, chill out, man. It's only Kenny. He sucks." I remember why these are Max's friends, and not mine. I attend all of Max's classes, and read through all of his terrible homework assignments. I get a D in physics, an E in English, even a couple of Fs. My new friends get equally terrible grades. They congratulate me as if failing academically is something to celebrate. At football practice, I'm terrified of the ball and watch it roll right past me. In Max's body, I can run for miles without getting tired, but I never know where to stand or what to do when the ball reaches my feet. When practice is over, I stay behind on the pitch just so I don't have to talk to anyone. Someone calls out Max's name. I turn to see Julia, Max's girlfriend. Julia reaches in for a kiss. I turn my head just in time and she catches me awkwardly on the cheek. "Catch you round," I say, snatching up my backpack and racing away. Max is waiting for me at the playground. This is where we usually hang out, far away from his responsibilities as the most popular boy at school. Max and I had first met at this playground, and while we'd grown apart at school, in this place we still feel like the same toddlers who stuff sand in their mouths until their parents screamed. "Dude, look what I spent the trial money on," he says, waving his wrist at me. "Badass, huh?" It was a Rolex, a huge metal clamp that swallowed his arm. "What are you going to buy with the money from the trial?" he asks me. "No idea," I shrug. "I haven't thought that far ahead yet." "Well," Max says, "your parents seem to buy me so much stuff, I doubt I'll need more money anyway. They're literally the best." I sigh. They're not that great, Max. When I tell Max about what happened with Julia today, he tells me that he doesn't care. She's all yours, he says, fiddling with the dials on his new watch. She's starting to bore me. I was going to break up with her anyway. Max reminds me not to ruin his reputation at school, so for the next week, I sit with his friends, I go to football practice, and I fail my tests. Outside school, I shun invitations to go drinking in the park, and instead, I play board games with Max's parents. They can't seem to believe that I want to spend time with them, and I feel guilty about deceiving them every day. I want to swap back early, I tell Max one evening as we take our seats on the playground swings. I don't want your life anymore. Your friends suck, and I don't want to lie to your parents. No way, he replies. I'm not giving my 10 grand back. But how can you keep pretending? Living a lie? Doesn't it feel wrong? You know, he says, a smirk flashing across his face. I'm thinking I might not even want to swap back. I grab his lapels and lift him off the ground. I am stronger than he is now, and I can hurt him. What are you going to do? He sneers. Punch me? My dad will sue your poor immigrant parents for everything they've got. But they're your parents, Max. I'm Rupert now, he spits back. My dad's a famous lawyer, and I can do whatever the hell I want. I throw him hard against the monkey bars and walk home. The next day, I walk past Max's friends and sit with Kenny at lunch. He's flicking through his trading cards, and as I approach him, he snatches them up as if I might steal them. Relax, man, I say. How's your deck coming along? After school, Kenny and I play video games in his basement. I never knew you were such a nerd, Max, he said. Well, I reply, football's not all that fun, you know. That evening, as I'm settling down to do my homework, the doorbell rings. Julia is waiting on the doorstep. Hey, she says. Hi, I reply, shuffling in my tracksuit. Why are you ignoring me, she asks. Is it my new hair? I know you didn't like my last style, so I tried to change it for you. I take a deep breath. Give me a minute, I say. I'll just grab my coat. I take Julia to the cinema and ask her to choose a film. She selects a romantic comedy and looks shocked when I agree. Apparently Max refuses to watch anything apart from action movies. We take our seats and she squeezes my hand. My sweat glues our fingers together, but somehow she holds on even tighter. Her face is only a grainy silhouette in the darkness, but when she turns to face me, she is so beautiful I can't bring myself to look at her. I walk her home and she kisses me on the porch. I see her parents watching from the window, and I know that she can see them too, but she doesn't seem to care. I don't hear from Max for almost a week, and then the incessant texts and calls begin. Can we meet up? He writes. I give in. You win. Let's just swap back early. Your parents are crazy. Your dad threw a plate at my head last night. Come on, man, I can't take this anymore. I ignore him completely. I'm too busy hanging out with Julia, painting miniatures with Kenny, and playing board games with my new parents. I don't even notice that the end of the clinical trial comes and goes. Max tries to corner me at school, but I always manage to slip away. One day, when I arrive home, I see the real Max sitting down at the kitchen table. What are you doing here? I ask, slamming my backpack down on the counter. Rupert is joining us for dinner, my mum explains, putting a basket of freshly baked rolls on the counter. I do love your mother's cooking, Max smirks. When the plates are cleared, we go to my room. Max's face twists into a snarl. We're going back to the clinic tomorrow. Your parents are horrible. All they do is argue and use me as leverage. I need another week, I say. Max grabs my arm and we wrestle. He trips over a stool and hits his head on the floor. Max scrambles to his feet and rushes from the bedroom. Mom, he yells. Dad. By the time I get downstairs, Max is sobbing into his mum's shoulder. I think that the game is up. They know I'm the pale kid from up the road, a pitiful suburban cuckoo. But then Mum looks at me over the top of Max's head and mouths something. Help! I breathe a sigh of relief. I think you should leave, I tell Max, grabbing him by the arm and pulling him towards the front door. Mum and Dad! Max screams, clutching onto a side table as I drag him across the living room. He's lying! He's an imposter! Please, help me! The table topples and splinters on the granite floor. Max bawls on the porch for a few minutes before skulking home. What was that all about? Mom asks. I shrug. He hasn't been himself lately. Well, I hope he's okay, Mom says, scratching her head. Look, Max, Dad says, taking a seat on the sofa. We have some news to share, and I'm afraid it's not good. With tears in his eyes, he shares that he has been diagnosed with liver cancer. They don't have money to begin treatment, but they will find it, he assures me. I stare at the wall, stunned. When they leave the room, I immediately text Max. Meet me at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The next morning, I take my $10,000 from the trial and leave it in an envelope on the doorstep. I don't know how much cancer treatments cost, but I hope it will help. I meet Max at the bus stop and we walk to the clinic together. You know, I say, this was your idea in the first place. Shut up, Max replies, and we walk the rest of the way in silence. When we get to the clinic, we approach the front desk and ask to be swapped back. Glancing up over the top of her red spectacles, the receptionist tells us that she doesn't know what we are talking about. What do you mean? Max shouts, causing the other patients in the waiting room to turn and look at us. We were here last month. We had the clinical trial where we swapped places. Uh-huh, the woman replies, sipping loudly from her flask of coffee. Like that movie, Freaky Friday? Yes, exactly, I chime in. They put these big helmets on our heads, and there was a load of electricity, and we swapped places. Uh-huh, the woman repeats, reaching for a button under her desk. Security? Security! Max and I sit on the curb, tapping at our phones. Online, there's no record of our doctor or the clinical trial. Max sends a message to TikTok support, asking for more details on the advert he saw, but we both know it won't get us anywhere. We stare blankly at each other, gazing at the faces we used to own. We return to the clinic every day for a month, but each time we are chased away. The trial never existed. I have always been Max, and Rupert has always been Rupert. I take Julia to the cinema and play video games with Kenny. Dad gets treated for cancer and goes into remission. Rupert becomes one of the popular kids. I don't see him at the playground anymore, but he makes sure his friends leave me and Kenny alone. After a while, it seems like this life has always been mine. Thanks for joining us on Potent Ink Short Stories. If you enjoyed Trading Tomorrows, drop a like and hit subscribe for more videos like this one.